Good evening. At this time, I'll call the meeting of the Dysart Governing Board to order. Let the record reflect that all board members are present, with one being on the telephone tonight, calling in. And we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. All right, first up, we have item A2. For the adoption of the agenda, I move to adopt the agenda as presented.
I second.
Motion carries. Next, we have item B1, motion to approve consent agenda items. I'll entertain a motion.
I motion to approve consent agenda items as presented.
Second.
Motion carries. Bear with me just a moment. Okay. Moving to item D1, information discussion. Dr. Croto.
Thank you, Madam President. Tonight we have a report for you on our summer learning that our amazing staff has gone through this summer in preparation for our kids on Thursday. So I will turn it over to Dr. Asai for our summer learning report.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, and Dr. Croto. It is my honor to present to you tonight on the summer educator preparation. Those who have worked for me for years know that I am fond of saying that we can always be better tomorrow than today. That is a philosophy I've learned here in Dysart. When I came here 20 years ago, maybe 20 plus years ago, it was often known that people went to Dysart when they couldn't get a job elsewhere. The scores were low, and it was not an attractive environment. However, the relentless work of people, the support of board members like you and administration, have helped Dysart grow to be a premier district. We are an A-rated district for the second year in a row, home to a blue ribbon school, and have outstanding graduation rates. Tonight, we will be talking about 4 investments that Dysart has made in making our people better, all of which occurred this summer. Our curriculum workshop, or summer workshop, which was held May 27th through the 30th, the Professional Learning Community at Work Conference, held June 23rd through 26th, Dysart Leadership Team, held July 7th through the 10th, and our new educator orientation. I term this why the investment in summer training, because it is an investment. It takes money to compensate people and to get new learning. However, in Dysart, we believe our most valuable asset is our people. Competent people trump programs any day of the week. When we invest in summer learning, we carefully plan it out. We plan collaboration opportunities for teachers. We identify which skills we need to grow in and what the data says we need to improve on. We know that when we know with this, by allowing teachers to collaborate and by focusing on where we need to, that it also helps to return, for teachers to return, which is a great return on our investment. I'm going to start tonight with curriculum workshop. This was our 3rd year to do curriculum workshop. It happens the week after school is out, following Memorial Day. We had 900 staff members attend 4 half-day trainings. This year, it was focused around the 4 essential questions of PLC work. What is it we want students to know? How will we know they know it? What will we do for those that get it? And what will we do for those that don't? The Department of Education recently released new essential standards. We are so happy for this, and it was a gift, because previously we really didn't know what the focus was. The Department of Education has outlined essential standards in each area, and we needed to make sure our curriculum mapped these in an appropriate time and sequence. That answered the question, what is it we want them to know? From there, we looked at our exams to ensure that we were appropriately measuring a standard. It's hard to get a read for a standard with only one question. That helped us to define how will we know they know it. We also worked with teachers to develop checks for understanding aligned to the essential standards and a focus on the vertical progression. That helps us to define what will we do for those that get it and those that don't. We need appropriate data points. We need to know the skills below our grade level to know if we need to go back and remediate. We also need to know what are the skills above our level and the essential standards above so we know how to extend. Laura Johnson, 4th grade teacher at Marley Park, was supposed to present tonight, but she had to cancel at the last minute. I had invited her to share her words on summer workshop, and she asked me to read them for you. I can't see close with my glasses, I'm sorry. She said, first and foremost, this workshop provides a powerful opportunity for teachers from all schools to come together and collaborate. We often work with only our grade level teams during the school year, but summer workshops allows us to unite, share perspectives, build a shared understanding of what truly matters, our essential standards. Together, we were able to dissect the standards, not just read through them, but really break them down. We ensured we all interpreted them in the same way, so that no matter what school your student attends, they are receiving a consistent, high-quality instruction rooted in a common understanding. Another critical part of our work was to look at the progression of each standard. Understanding where a student is coming from and where they need to go to is key to intentional planning. This insight empowered us to better support learning at every stage. We also used our time to develop clear grade-level expectations for writing. Writing is a foundational skill, and aligning expectations across schools ensures a coherent path for students as they grow into confident communicators. Equally important in summer workshop was our focus on assessments. We worked together to establish common expectations for both formative and summative assessments. This alignment helps us to measure more effectively and ensure we're providing all students with a fair and accurate reflection of their progress across campuses. Lastly, we developed meaningful checks for understanding, quick, effective strategies to gauge how well our students are grasping the material in real time. These checks are key to adjusting instruction before misunderstandings become learning gaps. In short, our Dysart Summer Curriculum Workshop is about alignment, clarity, and collaboration. It's about doing the hard work now so we can enter the school year confident, united, and prepared to support every student who walks into our classroom. Thank you, and I'm excited for the important work we will continue to do. Lori's very, very eloquent, and I'm sure she would have presented it a little bit better than I did, but we all get the picture. Our next emphasis in summer training was the PLC conference. I wanted to start by talking about the history of professional learning communities in Dysart. I've been here a long time, and under other administrations, the PLC system was deployed as really a, here you go, here's what it is, and it was left to individual sites to implement. It really made it the success dependent upon site leadership. If a site had a principal who went to conferences themselves and read, that site prospered, and we saw the scores go up. Other sites were left behind as the leader didn't invest in that, resulting in inconsistencies. Under Dr. Croto's leadership, we've established a systemic plan to train our leaders so that no one's left behind. We've developed tools to measure the effectiveness of our PLCs, and we've invested in training. I've invited some of our staff to also talk to you about the summer conference and PLCs on their campus. And we will start with Chantel McNeese, the proud principal of Countryside.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the Governing Board, Dr. Croto and Cabinet. It is my honor to speak on behalf of Countryside Elementary School and share our journey with professional learning communities over the last 3 years. One of the many reasons why I am so proud to be part of the Dysart team is that we plan for sustainability within our systems. Our PLC framework is a critical system for improved student learning. To truly lead instructional improvement, principals cannot do it alone. As Dufour and Marzano emphasized, the most powerful strategy for improving teaching and learning is building the capacity of our teacher leaders. When we invest in developing teacher leadership, we create sustainable systems like PLCs, and that directly impacts student success. So next, I'll share a snapshot of our PLC journey. Over the past 3 years, we've had the privilege of attending the Solution Tree PLC conference, an experience that has been pivotal to our school's growth. So year 1, principal teams attended, laying that solid foundation for PLC leadership and understanding. Year 2, we expanded to include our assistant principals and our TLSs, focusing on how to support and empower our teams more effectively. And year 3, this past year, we brought our guiding coalitions, our teacher leaders. We brought them together, we shared the planning, the goals, and the shifts for our campus-wide PLCs. We needed to invest in our teacher leaders to truly understand the impact of PLCs on every Dysart campus. This returned everyone coming back energized and inspired. We were ready to lead the charge in advancing both our adult learning and our student achievement. Their excitement wasn't just about what they learned, it was about how they could take ownership in moving our school forward. And this is the kind of leadership that sustains real improvement in our systems and our outcomes. So next, I'll share a little bit about the planning before the PLC conference and then beyond. We believe, as Charlotte Danielson noted, that deliberate instructional planning is a strong predictor of student success. And our teams didn't just attend. We prepared with purpose. Each school aligned their IAP goals and their student data to strategically select conference sessions. And the learning didn't stop when the sessions ended. Each evening, our Dysart teams met for an additional 2 or more hours, identifying site-specific obstacles and building concrete action plans to bring ideas back into practice. And these sessions helped us bridge that gap between learning and implementation, ensuring that every teacher team had clear next steps rooted in shared knowledge and student growth. At Countryside, we have seen a direct impact of empowered teacher teams on student achievement. 4th grade ELA data, we reduced the percentage of minimally proficient students by 11%. We increased percentage of highly proficient students by 16%, and our cohort data growth was especially strong. That cohort, 3rd to 4th grade, we reduced minimally proficient by 22%. Increasing highly proficient by 16%, and increased that overall percent passing by 15 compared to last year. In math, we saw gains across all performance levels. We increased proficiency by 19%. We increased overall percent passing by 24%. And our cohort growth outpaced even those gains. We reduced minimally proficient by 13%, we increased proficient by 16%, and we achieved a 24% increase in overall passing, outperforming the state average by 8%. So additionally, we celebrated our strongest Azella proficiency gains in school history, which is a testament to our teachers' commitment to the PLC process. So to speak more about what this journey has looked like from the classroom's perspective, I'd like to introduce our 4th grade team lead, Mallory Stradley, who will share how PLCs have transformed collaboration, instruction, and outcomes on her team.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the Governing Board, Dr. Croto and Cabinet. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. Over the past year, our 4th grade team experienced a remarkable transformation, and it was largely due to the implementation of professional learning communities, or PLCs. The impact touched every aspect of our work, how we collaborated, how we instructed, and most importantly, how our students performed. Before PLCs, our team often worked in isolation. We shared resources occasionally, but there was no consistent structure for deep, ongoing collaboration. Planning was fragmented, and instructional decisions were often based on individual preferences rather than shared goals. But once we committed to the PLC process, everything began to change. We met regularly with a clear agenda focused on the 4 critical questions. What do we want our students to learn? How will we know if they've learned it? What will we do if they haven't? What will we do if they already have? These questions guided our discussions and brought intentionality to our planning. We developed common formative assessments, analyzed student data together, and adjusted our instruction based on real-time evidence, not assumptions. Collaboration became purposeful. We no longer just shared ideas, we made decisions together based on what the data showed us about our students. We supported one another through challenges and celebrated our collective wins. It truly became a team effort, not just in name, but in practice. Instruction improved as well. Because we were identifying essential standards together, our lessons became more focused and consistent across classrooms. We shared strategies that worked and helped each other refine those that didn't. We became more responsive and flexible, adapting our instruction based on what students needed, not just following a pacing guide. And most importantly, we saw a measurable difference in student outcomes. Our benchmark scores improved, yes, but beyond that, we saw increased student engagement, stronger confidence in problem solving, and more ownership of learning. Our interventions were more targeted, our extensions more meaningful, and our students thrived because of it. PLC helped shift our culture from my classroom to our students. That shift made all the difference. We are proud of how far we've come, and we are committed to continuing this work. Thank you for supporting the structures and time that makes PLCs possible. They've transformed the way we teach, and more importantly, how our students learn. As Rick Dufour once said, the very essence of a learning community is a focus on and a commitment to the learning of each student. That commitment has become the heart of our team, and it's making all the difference. Thank you. Now I would like to introduce you to the principal of Luke Elementary School.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the Governing Board, and Dr. Croto. My name is Kara Sayre, and I'm the very proud principal of Luke Elementary. Tonight, I'm honored to share how our district is advancing in the professional learning community process and how it's transforming teaching and learning, not only at Luke, but in our district. At the district level, our guiding coalition provides oversight and collaborative support across all sites. The goal is to establish district-wide TITEs, or non-negotiables, so that effective practices can be replicated based on student achievement data. This ensures consistency in identifying and teaching essential standards across the district. We know from research that when the PLC succeeds, one of the reasons they do is because a tight framework and clear expectations is provided. We operate under a clearly defined district PLC framework, including common definitions. We are a PLC. We function in collaborative teams. We have an aligned focus. All schools prioritize our state and district essential standards, using these as the foundation for meaningful goal setting and instructional planning. At Luke, we've experienced a powerful cultural shift. Our team is truly on a mission to ensure that every student masters grade-level essential standards. Due to our school size and departmentalized structure in 3rd through 8th grade, we originally worked in grade-level teams. However, to strengthen alignment and deepen impact, we transitioned this past year to vertical content teams in 3rd through 8th grade. For example, our 3rd through 8th grade ELA teachers collaborated as one vertical team. Together, all of our collaborative teams, including our horizontal kinder through 2nd grade teams, deconstruct standards by domain to build clarity on mastery for every single grade level essential standard and proficiency on that standard. They analyze student data not only by domain, but standard and student by student to identify instructional practices that lead to student achievement success. and they target areas of weakness with strategic interventions and support. This ongoing process represents our relentless pursuit of improvement, knowing where every student stands standard by standard. The results have been significant. We've seen steady increases in both proficiency and growth according to state accountability labels. Even more notably, our collaborative team structure is yielding transformational results. For instance, 8th grade ELA saw a 25% increase in proficiency, and 67% of our students were in the high growth category compared to peers across the state of Arizona. 5th grade math had just 9% of students in the low growth category and increased cohort proficiency by 21%. These outcomes are not by chance. They are a direct result of teacher clarity on deconstructed standards, aligned instruction and assessment, strategic intervention and extension based on real-time student needs, and most importantly, collective action by collaborative teams. This is a cultural shift from isolated planning to an ongoing, never-ending cycle of inquiry. Which students learn and which students didn't? What strategies worked and what are we going to do about it now, not waiting until a benchmark? Thank you for your time and your continued support of the PLC process. Together, we are ensuring all students learn at high levels. I would now like to introduce Ms. Taylor Rich.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Croto and Cabinet. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight about something that has not only profoundly shaped the way that I support new educators, but the way that I see the future of education in our district. I began my teaching career in Dysart at just 20, fresh out of college and really eager to make a difference. And 16 years later, I've had the privilege of growing as an educator, a leader, and a parent. And for the past 3 years, I've served as the teaching and learning specialist at Luke Elementary, supporting teams and instructional best practice. As a parent and educator, I deeply believe that no family should have to feel like their child's educational experience depends on luck. And that's the reality for too many, hoping their child lands in the right class with the right teacher. But when we build strong professional learning communities, we remove that gamble. Every student, regardless of the classroom, benefits from a team of educators aligned in purpose, strategy, and support. But the same lottery also applies to teachers. A brand new educator could start their career on a collaborative, high-functioning team or on a fractured one, and I've seen both. Teachers on strong PLC teams thrive, they grow, and they stay. Those that are placed in isolation or dysfunction often leave, and that loss has a direct impact on our students and our system. Before our district's commitment to the PLC at Work process, I experienced teams that weren't truly teams. There was no shared clarity, inconsistent expectations, and wide gaps in our student outcomes. One teacher might soar while another struggles in silence. Data was siloed and instruction was often inconsistent. Students grew, some, but not all. And then came the shift. Through the PLC at Work framework, we began doing the right work together. The 4 questions that guide our PLCs, these became our compass. We were no longer hoping for success. We were building it side by side for all of our students. Teaching is hard, but the most valuable resource in any building is not a program or a tech tool, it is collaboration. I've attended countless trainings and been a part of many district initiatives over the years, but nothing has had the same sustained impact on student learning as when we committed to collaborative teams focused on learning that is grounded in data and guided by this framework. Because when adults learn, students learn, and that's not just a saying, it's what I have lived. So today in my role supporting new teachers, I see firsthand how high-functioning PLCs can fuel morale, confidence, and student achievement. And when teams truly function as PLCs, new teachers don't just survive, they thrive. And when someone leaves the team doesn't collapse because we aren't relying on individuals, we're anchored in a process. This is why investing in PLCs at Work is different than chasing one-time initiatives. It's a sustainable system that outlasts people, programs, or fads. And it's the kind of investment that truly pays dividends in student learning, teacher retention, and school culture.
Looking back on my journey in Dysart, I can say without hesitation that the last 3 years when we began to truly embrace the PLC process have been the most impactful, not just for me, but the teachers and the students that I serve. I'm not here because I had all of the answers. I'm here because I was a part of a team that believed in truly learning and growing together. Thank you so much for your time. I'd like to hand it back over to Dr. Asai.
I'd like to thank all our staff that came to speak about a process that they truly believe in. I believe they covered the points on my next slide. It addressed what we learned at the PLC conference. We focused on the why and the foundations of effective PLCs. Emphasized that effective PLCs are only effective if they produce results. Reinforced how PLC progress is measured in Dysart. All schools set goals for their PLC progress. And attending the session in Vegas allowed staff to choose from multiple sessions that wouldn't have been available elsewhere. All schools left with a PLC deployment plan of what they're going to do this year to increase student achievement on their campus. And leadership teams were provided time to collaborate, developing not just administrative leaders, but teacher leaders as well. I've been to conferences before where you go and it's one and done. Let me tell you, with Dr. Croto, that is not the case. You are in a room meeting with the entire district for 2 hours after. We're putting plans in place that will guide us throughout the year. So we have to ask ourselves, was the attendance at the PLC conference really a $447,000 gamble? Our conclusion is no. Gambling wins are by chance. And although we have produced big wins for kids, we based ours on research. We heard about research in the last meeting, an isolated study out of the University of Arkansas. And I wanted to take the time to address that study. That study was done with a randomized control trial, which is normally considered the gold standard of research. I used it for my own dissertation. We use this type of study when we aren't sure if the intervention, in this case the PLC, works. In my dissertation, I ask, is reflective conferencing with teachers more beneficial than simply providing them with feedback? Feedback's much quicker. It doesn't invest as much time. I wasn't sure, so it made sense to give the intervention to half of the teachers and not the other half. There's a plethora of research that shows when PLCs are implemented correctly that they drive student achievement. In this case, it would have been unethical in our district to give a great intervention that we know works to half our schools and tell the rest, I'm sorry, we're not going to let you participate in this training. That would have bordered on malpractice. There are conditions, and some studies show that there's little impact, but usually that's when PLCs are done light, not when PLCs are done right. And all these studies offer us parameters, even the University of Arkansas study, about the conditions that create effective PLCs. Effective PLCs need a clear focus on student learning, really drilling down to the standards and what it is students need to master. You heard from our staff that this is the case in Dysart. You have to use data, and you have to have a cycle of inquiry. We do that here. You've seen countless data presentations. There needs to be strong leadership. Earlier, I talked about old leadership that just said, hey, do the PLCs. It didn't work. We have Dr. Croto leading this initiative that has given us focus, that he's had us measure. He keeps asking, what can we do better? You need time and structure. Our teachers have time every Monday to meet with their teams. They have experiences like summer learning. Schools have worked to ensure they have common prep periods where they can be pulled to talk about data and what they're teaching, what was effective, who got it and who didn't. Effective PLCs, a key element is building capacity. That is what we have strategically done with our investment in the PLC conference over the past 3 years. Our next one, much shorter, is Dysart Leadership Training. Dysart Leadership Training does take place on July 7th through the 10th. We get all of our administrators, principals, assistant principals, and directors, and it's 3 to 4 days of training. We have the 4th day for extended training for high school assistant principals and new administrators. Each day is really themed, kind of to an assistant superintendent in a way. The first day was my day. Academic focus and state of the district. We really looked at our data, where we're doing well, where we can improve, because like we opened with, we can always do better tomorrow than today. We focused on how to continue to grow our PLC system, focused on essential standards and Dysart values. Day 2 was safety and professional expectations. Day 3, human resources, with all the fun stuff like evaluations, Title IX, and investigations. We believe it's important to empower our admin staff at every level to be great leaders. Finally, we have new educator orientation, which happened July 14th through the 24th. We start with a kickoff at Valley Vista, so our new teachers can get to know what Dysart's all about. We used to only do 3 days, and we heard from staff that wasn't enough. They needed more time with their content. They needed more time to understand what really it takes to set up a good classroom. The first 4 days are dedicated to content and applications teachers will use in campus culture. The next 4 days are focused on positive classroom climate and effective lesson planning. And Jen Chernikoff, who is our coordinator for new educator orientation, will come up and tell you a little more about it.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Croto, and cabinet. I am so sorry. Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, and Dr. Croto and cabinet. Thank you. My name is Jennifer Chernikoff. I am your new educator coordinator, and I'm pleased to provide an update on Dysart New Educator Orientation and our new teacher induction program, and the ways in which we are equipping our teachers and, in turn, our students for success. This year, we welcomed over 200 new educators to Dysart. Our 2-week new teacher induction began with a July 14th kickoff event where new staff connected with district leaders, learned about their supports, the PLC process, and began building community. This has been a significant shift in the last 2 years. Our new teachers traditionally only had 4 days of training, and this has increased to 8 to better prepare them in their first year of teaching. Following the new educator kickoff on July 15th through 18th, teachers worked closely with our dedicated teaching and learning specialists, teacher leaders, and our curriculum specialists to review scope and sequences and explore approved resources with dedicated time for collaboration and planning, ensuring that teachers felt prepared to embark on a successful year with aligned instruction and state standards in mind. During the week of July 21st through 24th, our first-year teachers and teachers new to the Dysart Unified School District participated in Spark Start, where they engaged in training, learning how to implement strong classroom procedures and lesson design, all aimed at setting high expectations in the classroom and to maximize instructional time and increase student success. Meanwhile, our second and third year teachers engaged in professional development, and we refer to this as STEP, which is supporting teachers' educational practice to deepen their understanding of Dysart's instructional protocols and best practices for effective teaching. This year, in alignment with our PLC work, a large focus was on unwrapping the standards, aligning checks for understanding. We know that a strong teacher induction program directly supports teacher recruitment and retention, along with accelerating teacher acquisition of skill to accelerate student learning. When teachers feel supported, prepared, and a part of a professional learning community, they are more likely to stay and grow in our district and produce student achievement. One powerful example of this impact came from a teacher in our Ready to Teach program. He shared that he had recently been offered a position with an IT company which paid more. But because of the level of support and encouragement he's received in Dysart, he decided to remain with us in the classroom, knowing that here he can make a real difference. It is clear why new teacher orientation programs play a vital role in our schools. When we invest in our teachers, when we invest in the success of our students. As Dr. Asai said earlier, there is no place where student learning is high, where adult learning is low. This is why in Dysart we are all committed to be better tomorrow than today. Thank you for your continued support, and as we work together to make Dysart the best place to learn, grow, and teach. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jen. And as we close out on our presentation on summer learning, I want to share a quote by our own Dr. John Croto. Our intentional investment in educator development is directly tied to improve outcomes for our students. We began our PLC focus in the 22-23 school year, and since then we have seen a powerful rise in the number of A-rated schools in our district. I've always heard in the business world, which I'm definitely not part of, that it's all about return on investment. Looking at this, our investment in sending our leaders to the PLC conference, investing and paying our teachers for summer workshop, our new educator orientation, when we look at 21-22 school year, without the PLC framework, we had 12 A-rated schools, 10 B, and 2 Cs. In the first year of implementation, we raised the level of A's to 18, 4 B's and 2 C's. In 23-24, for the first school year, in 23-24, for the first time ever, we had no C schools. We had 18 A-rated schools, 6 B schools, and we remained an A district, which also increases property value in the Surprise-El Mirage area. 24-25, we have our scores back, but the state board has not met to do cut scores yet. If they maintain the same cut scores as they did this year, we anticipate an increase in our A schools once again and no C-rated schools. So did we get a return on investment? It would appear so. And I will now stand for questions.
I don't have a question. I just have congratulations. I appreciate you guys sharing everything that you guys do during the summer. I know I had this conversation with Dr. Croto earlier in the summer, that a lot of parents don't understand that teachers are actually working during the summer. They're doing stuff to prep, to get the classrooms ready. And that's something that I really want to make sure we share with our community going forward. But thank you very much.
Member Skavaran, thank you so much for acknowledging all that our teachers do in the summer. I do think people don't realize everything that goes on. Thank you for the opportunity.
Also want to congratulate everyone on all the results, and thank you for all of the hard work that you put in all throughout the year. It's definitely disheartening when we hear feedback based on national narratives, but when they don't really understand what's going on in our Dysart schools year-round. It's definitely an unfortunate situation, but I'm so grateful for this presentation by everyone tonight. Thank you all for being present, and just to make sure that we're, again, all on the same page, all hearing the same message, all having the same goal. That's so important. Thank you.
Thank you, President Dysart.
I also want to say thank you for the presentation and all of our speakers. I've been to 2 of the PLC conferences, and the excitement, the collaboration, everything that I experienced in the first 2, unfortunately I didn't go to this one, but the first 2, you could see the excitement in their faces when we would come back from the conference and we would all sit around our tables and collaborate. The first year, it was just the principals, and you could see the excitement that they wanted to take all this information back to their schools. And then the next year, it was, the assistant principals, and you could just see the excitement again, collaborating. So I know how important this is to the district. I know that it's made a difference, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you.
And on the behalf of our entire staff, I would like to thank the board for continuing to support professional development in Dysart. And to Dr. Croto, without his leadership, we would still be doing it probably random and creating an educational lottery from school to school.
Any other comments from the board?
I just have a couple from the new teacher orientation. Do we have any feedback from them on what support that they want going forward in their first year? Have they expressed what else we can do to make their journey successful?
Thank you so much, Board Member Drake. Yes, we often collect feedback at the end of our sessions with our new teachers. Some of the feedback is that new teachers are very overwhelmed, which is a true statement. There's quite a bit of information that we provide for them, but with the support of the content specialists, the teaching and learning specialists, teacher leaders, administrators, they're ready to teach specific teaching and learning specialists. We all rally around them to support them, whether that means asking questions via email or going to their classrooms to directly support, just knowing that that we are there every step of the way to guide them and support them in their journey. So yes, we collect frequent feedback. They're excited to be in the classrooms, but a little nervous, which is typical. Yeah, thank you for that question.
Board Member Justice?
I'll ask another one. Does anybody else have any questions?
I think that,
Okay.
can you hear me?
Yes.
I just wanted to reiterate the importance of supporting and giving our teachers the means and the ability and the collaboration so that they can continue to grow, as well as ensure that our students are getting the absolute best. So I appreciate everything that Dr. Croto has done for the PLC, and with Dr. Isaiah and the teachers. Everyone this year was incredible, and to see the enthusiasm and excitement and how they just were so exuberant in wanting to get back and implement. So I just want to say thank you guys very much.
Thank you. Board Member Drake?
With the PLC implementation, I know that it's been extremely successful in our district. I just want to know what our district wants to use out of the PLC success besides the collaboration to move forward, to continue in the district, to continue being successful.
It's a wonderful question, and I think you'll see this as our schools present on their IEPs this year. We've gone through all of their continuous improvement plans. Our next focus is really zoning in on daily checks for understanding. With it, what do we want them to know? How will we know they know it? The unit test, we've set unit goals before, and we've actually usually set year-long goals. You see them, and it'll say, we want to increase by 3% next year. That's a long span between August and May. So we've really asked principals to work with their staffs, and lots of them came up with us at the PLC conference about setting unit goals around essential standards and really breaking that down and then transferring that into daily checks for understanding of, who got the lesson I taught today and who didn't, and then how can I remediate immediately the next day so I'm not creating such a gap and leaving kids behind. So that's going to be our main focus this year as we go down our PLC road.
Wonderful, thank you.
I just want to thank you for the presentation also, and I liked hearing the percentages of increase in the English, the different subjects and stuff. It sounds like they're making improvements, so thank you.
And members, we didn't get a chance to highlight this, but we have outpaced the state growth from 22-23 till today. So we've outpaced state growth in both ELA and math. So the gains that we've gotten have outpaced whatever the state had got. So we're proud of that. We still have lots of room to go. We won't be happy until all of our schools are up here, but we have a committed staff who continues to make progress. Thank you.
I just want to say thank you on behalf of district for that awesome presentation. I think the words on everything we do to prepare to make students the best in this district, I think it speaks for itself. So like President Densmore said, it's unfortunate when half-truths are told or they don't take the time to look into what's really happening in our district and the things that go on. So congratulations to all the faculty and staff. I am proud of you. I am proud of your commitment and what you do to make this district an A district and make our kids successful. So on behalf of the district, I say thank you. Thank you for your commitment.
All right. Next up, we have item B1, address the governing board.
Yeah, this is the time for public to comment. Members of the board may not discuss items that are not specifically identified on the agenda pursuant to ARS 38-431.01H. Action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter, responding to any criticism, or scheduling the matter for further consideration and decision at a later date. In order to facilitate accomplishing the business of the district in a timely manner, a time limit of 3 minutes will be imposed for each individual or group addressing the board. When you approach the podium, please state your name for the record. Lisa Everett.
Good afternoon, evening. My name is Lisa Everett, and I am just here in support of Dysart. I saw the media coverage, as many of you have, and I want to tell just a brief story. I was at a meeting where Superintendent Tom Horn spoke. He spoke highly of Dysart, but he said the #1 reason teachers leave the profession is lack of support. You guys are doing an amazing job. Teacher turnover is a problem, and when you do things like this, offer this training, offer this support, that puts a stop to the turnover, which in turn helps our students, which will help our cities. I just want to say thank you, because you've gotten some bad press, and I think you need to hear the words, "You made a good decision, but you don't need me to tell you that. You just need the public to hear it." So thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Susan Wetzel.
Good evening, and thank you for your time. I could have brought a big support group with me tonight. However, it does not change the fact that my concern is either legit or not. I'm a very involved grandparent of a Dysart public school student. I have gone from volunteering in the classroom to actually getting my substitute teaching certificate in 2023. Along with that, I've also been on the PTA in the past. My concern this evening is to address the dress code of the Dysart Public School District. The part of the dress code I'm referring to this evening, and I didn't do a printout or anything, but it happens to be regarding the girls with their tops and their shorts. They must not include spaghetti straps, halter, backless, strapless. I'm just kind of briefing through it if you don't have it in front of you. Narrowly cut in the back, under the arms or front to expose cleavage. Must not expose any part of the midriff or undergarments, etc. for the top. For the shorts, they must cover the entire buttocks when sitting or standing and must not expose undergarments. It also says extend to a reasonable length. I guess I'm questioning what a reasonable length is. The incident I came across was at the close of this past school year. It alarmed me. There was a video on the school Facebook page of 8th graders marching through the hallway, which was a last hurrah, which is wonderful, before they go on to high school. Keep in mind, this is a K-8 school. Nonetheless, the dress code should apply to all the schools. Is it not the responsibility, and I did give a handout of the photo, is it not the responsibility of the administration to enforce the dress code? Should this kind of dress be allowed? The younger students are very influenced by the older ones. Along with that, there are male educators that don't need to be confronted with this kind of dress. After seeing this, I addressed my concern with the principal through an email. And I am well known at the school. I have always been respectful. The response I received kind of shocked me, and I shared it with a few educators and parents that I knew, and they all were kind of surprised by the response. Is this and
Thank you. Yes. I have your information. I'll pass it down to Mr. Croto. Thank you. Dr. Croto, sorry. Ma'am, your time's up. Yeah. No, that's okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Did we have any additional speakers tonight? No, that was it. Okay. Okay, moving ahead to item F1, Dr. Croto.
Thank you, Madam President. Tonight, I bring to you the approval of the Superintendent's 25-26 goals. They have been revised as per our discussion in the last meeting, so I do not need to go through them again. I will stand for any questions or comments or ask for a vote on the goals.
I just want to thank you for putting the effort into and listening to our recommendations and implementing those. And with that, I move to approve the superintendent's 25-26 goals and objectives as presented.
A second.
Motion carries. All right. Okay. Okay. All right, moving to item F2, Dr. Croto.
Thank you, Madam President. Tonight, we bring to you an awesome opportunity about our ASU Universal Learner course, and Dr. Asai will present this to the board.
All right, we'll go from down here this time. Good evening again. It is my pleasure to present to you this time on ASU Accelerate program. The ASU Accelerate program is an opportunity brought to us by ASU that offers students access to college-level courses taught by ASU faculty. It allows our students to obtain a transferable college credit while still in middle school. So this is different. We've never done this before. We've had dual enrollment at high school, but never at middle school. When we found out about this opportunity, we talked about why bring it to Dysart? What's the benefit to our community? We talked about the advantage of taking the online class and how it would equip students with real-world skills through college-level coursework. Regardless of if students go to college or not, at some point in their life, they're most likely going to have to take an online class. Having exposure to it early would help them navigate any situation in college or career. It enhances their readiness, and most of all, it provides a low-cost options for families to receive an ASU credit on their transcripts. We are proposing to pilot this year at Freedom Elementary. It would be an opportunity given to 8th grade students who have all A's. If they're struggling in their coursework, a college-level class probably isn't what they need to be doing during 8th grade along with everything else, so that would be our target audience. We would send literature home explaining the opportunity and have a special information night that would go out by invite by using Infinite Campus to query our 8th graders who have A's. This is totally an opt-in program. It would not be anything that students are put in unless their parents sign them up. Parents would need to sign our students up through the ASU portal, and they would be supported by ASU in that registration process. There's an initial fee that we'll talk about. Students would work on the course during their intervention time and at home, and if students are successful, they have the option to pay for this to be posted to their ASU transcripts. The cost of the program, if parents choose to enroll or guardians choose to enroll their student, is a $25 enrollment fee. There's an ASU professor facilitating the class, so of course ASU has to pay the professor. The $25 enrollment fee covers the course and curriculum access. Students who are in a C or higher in the class can opt to add this course to their ASU transcript for a $400 transcription fee, which is actually cheaper than it would be if you took the course at ASU. Parents could also opt not to do this, So if your child got a B or C, they could decide not to add it onto the ASU transcript, which could have advantages. It's really designed as an independent online study model. We would provide students at freedom time during Tier 2 unless they needed to be pulled for an intervention group. Maybe they had, on their benchmark, it showed they weren't understanding a standard like OA5. They wouldn't have that time to work on their ASU class. They would need to do it at home. And students needing extra assistance can receive online tutoring at no cost. The course that we're proposing to offer is CIS 105, Computer Applications and Information. There's a dual focus on organizations in business and another focus on individuals who work for them, with talking about such roles as IT and business, IT concepts, digital citizenship, developing the skills needed for Excel, Word, and PowerPoint, and interpretation of data. We would follow this program and evaluate it. One of our key questions is how many students that start this program actually finish? If we have 50 kids that enrolled and finish with 10, it's probably not a program that's going to be beneficial for our population. We plan to look at what was the average grade earned by the student. If it's something our students really struggle with, then it wouldn't be something that we want to continue in the future. And last, we would do a parent satisfaction survey, and I failed to add, along with the student satisfaction survey. We want to know, did parents find it was easy to help their kids and support if needed? Did students feel they got something out of the class? How hard was it to balance with their regular classes? And I will stand for question on the ASU program.
I have just one question. I know it's going to be a pilot program, or considered as a pilot program, but I was just wondering, why did we settle on A students only and not like AB students?
We wanted to make sure, because we aren't familiar with it, kids that have all A's right now tend to keep up with their coursework, tend to be excelling. We don't need to do remediation on a lot of standards with them. So we wanted to create time in the schedule with that intervention period when they wouldn't be pulled for intervention as much.
If this pilot program was adopted, would we be open up to considering it to AB students in the future?
I think we could definitely do that. Each student has their own threshold and what they could do. We just wanted our first time out to be really cautious and kind of shoot bullets before we shoot cannonballs.
No, I completely understand. Thank you.
I have a question. The program, is it going to promote college and career readiness for the students? Are we going to get credit for that? Or is that only if the parents pay the $400 to get the credit?
ASU only posts the credit if you pay the college tuition, the $400 to post the credit.
Okay, gotcha.
Is this just for 1 year and then you evaluate?
It would be for 1 year, and then if we have success, we can bring it back. I can't tell you if it's going to be successful or not. Because ASU's term typically wraps up before ours, we should have information by the end of the year to know if we want to expand it next year.
Thank you.
I move to approve the ASU Universal Learner Course Agreement by and between Dysart Unified School District and Arizona Board of Regents on behalf of Arizona State University.
Same one.
Motion carries. Next up, we have action discussion 3. Dr. Croto.
Thank you, Madam President. Tonight, we have an extension on the easement agreement between Dysart Unified and Octagon Towers. It is a cell phone tower renewal. It's been in place since 2005 or 2006, I believe. Mary Dale will take this. Ms. Spadell will take this item. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Croto. Madam President, members of the board, as Dr. Croto stated, we are bringing for your considering an extension of the easement agreement for just continued operation of that telecommunications facility that has existed on the Marley Park Elementary School property since 2006. And the agreement is attached for your review. The proposal includes the extension of the agreement for up to 3 additional 5-year terms. Each term includes a scheduled revenue increase to the district. We have run this through legal counsel review, and they have approved the agreement for your consideration. So at this time, I can answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. I have several questions. Some of them I'm not even sure if we can answer because, you know, this was put on the campus back in 2006. So I know none of us was around. But for the agreement, what type of revenue is the district receiving to have the cell tower on the campus?
Madam President, Member Drake, it does vary with the various agreements. This particular one generates about $1,700 a month, so about $21,000 or so in annual revenue to the district. It goes into our school plant fund on the USFR chart of accounts, so that's the fund that is intended to collect any revenue received through the lease of property, which in this case this would apply to, and that can be used for capital purposes or other needs of the district.
Okay. One of my concerns with having the cell tower on our campuses is for health implications. Has the cell tower ever submitted any type of study, statistical information about health implications?
Madam President, Member Drake, I can't speak to if this particular company has. I know that, especially with cell tower agreements becoming more common really in the last few decades, last 2 decades specifically, there have been numerous studies. I think, you know, there's nothing in what I've also seen has indicated that there's any direct correlation. However, they also say, you know, that there's still long-term effects that we can't determine at this point in time. But we did reach out to the company themselves, and really they indicate they are operating within well below those limits that have been established through the FCC. And so we do ensure that they are abiding by those terms as well. But really those are set by those regulatory bodies such as the FCC that they are required to be in line with.
Do we have any documentation that when this cell tower was put in, was there any input from the actual district, like employees, parents of the students? What about the community around Marley Park? Because I know that, I don't know how developed Marley Park was back in 2006, but I know that when I moved here in 2002, Greenway was a dirt road. So I know that there was lots of opportunities. Instead of the cell tower being placed on our campus next to our school with our kids, there's other opportunities for the cell tower to be placed.
Right.
You know, there's land
Yes.
available. So why the cell tower company is insinuating that it be on our campus? I know we have other cell towers on other campuses too, which is very concerning to me too. Because I have been really researching this, and the statistics, I know it might be below the threshold of what the FCC is recommending, but there's studies out there that are just, it's concerning being close to these things. I know that I can't say that the cell towers are causing any issues, I don't know, but we got to think about our kids. They're still developing. Their brains are still developing. You know, I know that they're exposed. They probably have cell phones. They probably have little watches. They have iPads. You know, now they have Chromebooks. You know, now they have a cell tower in their place. They go home. They have Wi-Fi. They're exposed all day long. So I'm very concerned about this. And the research that I came across, there's a ton of school districts that are starting to ban the cell towers. I know, Higley Unified School District, they were just getting ready to have one installed at an elementary school, and the school board was very concerned, so they tabled it, and they want to have a town hall. They want the implement of the community, the parents, which I think that's probably what should have been done with ours, personally.
Right, and Madam President, Member Drake, it did, and you know, we'd have to pull back to the historical records, but at the time that it was put in, there was quite a lot of input because of those concerns. At the time, it was obviously very new too, so there was questions and concerns. And so at the time, that did require public comment. There was a lot of open discussion with the community. We'd have to go back into the records and compile what that looked like, but it was definitely open to the public to give comments and concerns at the time as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
I'd also like to comment on this topic also, and it says, I found out that there was a landmark decision on August 13th, 2021, where the court declared the FCC's decision to retain its 1996 safety limits for human exposure to wireless radiation was arbitrary and capricious. This ruling came after the FCC ignored extensive evidence of non-cancer health risks associated with the radio frequency radiation, evidence of, including impacts on children, environmental harm, and testimonies from people injured by wireless radiation. The court mandated the FCC to provide a reasoned explanation for its outdated guidelines and address the implications of RFR on health and the environment. So I think there's been some updated cases or research done about this radiation from these cell towers that maybe wasn't available, you know, when this was first implemented. I would like to maybe table this topic for another meeting instead of voting on it tonight.
I'd like to ask a few questions, and I'm okay with tabling it too, by the way. But just for my own knowledge, when we were talking about the cell phone towers, I know that there's a difference with the different G levels, but since this is such an older cell phone tower, I'm assuming that it's not 5G. And are your feelings, just to any board member, are your feelings any different based on whether it's 5G or not? Same? Okay. I have no idea any about.
There's nothing in the contract.
Well, and Madam President, just to clarify, they do get upgraded as there is improvement, so they all are 5G.
They're upgraded, okay.
Yes.
Okay, well, that answers that piece of
Can you
it.
hear me?
Board Member Destish, go ahead.
Okay, well, that answers that piece of it. Can you hear me? Thank you. What I was going to say is I too have concerns with the EMF and such coming off of these towers, especially around our students and just in our neighborhoods in general. So I agree with tabling it, and I think that there should be some type of study because the FCC requirements aren't always necessarily at a safe level for our community, and we really do need to look at this a little further. So I appreciate it being brought up.
And just to clarify, Ms. Spidel, if we were to vote for this, obviously, it would just continue business as usual. If we were to table this, come back later, and we decide that we don't want to move forward, what does that look like? Are we responsible for the removal of that cell phone tower, and what does that cost look like?
So, Madam President, so just to answer the first question, we certainly can't table. This particular one was just extending it an additional 15 years, so there is still, it's still in the agreement is still in effect at this point in time. We do have, that being said, we do have some that are coming to their end of term, and so we will have to make that decision. But no, if we meet that end of term, we would not be responsible to remove them from the property. Now, if we broke the agreement, that would be, a different matter. We'd have to work through legal. But if they do become end of term, it wouldn't be the cost of the district.
Okay. And it sounds like we might be tabling this. With that said, when it comes back, can we get maybe a broader presentation on where we're at with all of our cell towers?
Madam President, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a question too. So when the rest of them come up for contract to renewal, will it be coming to the board to to vote on that?
Yes, Madam
Like this
President.
one? Okay.
They do all come. In fact, I think we just had one to the board in December, I want to say, as was a more recent one. So they do come to the board. Absolutely. It is required board approval to extend and/or enter into a new agreement.
Okay, thank you.
And Madam President, if I could. I don't believe as a school district we are going to do the study. We have no expertise in obviously cell phone towers and doing that. So we will turn it over to the companies that are asking us to renew the lease and let them come present if they so choose. And if they do not choose, then we won't renew the lease. So we do not have the expertise in the cell towers. So
Right.
for us to do that presentation to you would not be good. So
My apologies, I didn't mean a presentation on the cell phone towers and all of the harmful effects and things like that. I'm thinking just a presentation, how many do we have? What does this look like if we don't extend a contract? Is it going to cost us anything? Is it going to?
we can do that. That part's easy. You were scaring me before.
Sorry,
We
but
don't know much
but the
about it.
presentation from them would be great too. So
Okay.
see what kind of magic you can make happen.
Madam President, I think that would be great, because we do provide them to you, but no, I don't think there's been a general, just a broad, this is how many agreements we have in place, these are the sites they're currently at, what are the agreement dates, so we can certainly do that.
Yeah.
Can I ask that if we do just like a simple study for Marley Park to see how the community feels as well? Like for the school, we don't have to reach out to everyone who lives in Marley Park. Sorry, we should be speaking of this, I suppose. And then if we want to get ahead of it, I guess we can use the same study for the whole district or the schools that have cell towers now. I mean, that would be a simple ask, I believe.
Absolutely.
All right. With that said, I will move to table this item. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion carries. All right, next up, we have item G1, Dr. Croto.
Thank you, Madam President. Just a quick update tonight. We are excited for the new year. Today, all our faculty and staff reported back to our schools, and so you have some awesome leaders out in the audience that joined us, and teacher leaders and people on the campus, and today was that first day back, and always an exciting day. I know they are dead tired right now because that day is very taxing. So just thank you. Welcome back. Happy New Year. We're excited. School starts Thursday, if you can believe it. We are at it again, and we're ready to rock and roll. So Happy New Year, and let's do it. And here's to a good 25-26. So thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have the governing board update. I will start. I feel like a lot of this has already been said, but although many of you have been working and preparing over the summer, welcome back. It's always an exciting time as we prepare a new year of leading, teaching, and learning. Also a pre-welcome to our Dysart families with students starting back in just a couple days. This morning, I attended a very special event honoring Principal Jill Hoppy of Canyon Ridge Elementary School. Ms. Hoppy was presented with the Exemplary Principal Award from Maricopa County Superintendent Shelley Boggs. We are so grateful for your leadership in Dysart and so proud of the work that you're doing to lead your professional learning community, guide student growth, and maintain your amazing results. I also want to mention a current event involving our district. Again, I'm sorry, everything's probably already been said, but I wrote this morning. As some of you know, there was a recent media story involving our use of funds towards professional development for our staff. What you may be missing is that this is an initial investment in our staff and a lifetime investment in our students and in our community. When student achievement, state test results are all under scrutiny, we chose to invest dollars into strengthening these results. One common theme in local, state, and national narratives is that students can't read or do basic math. This is not our narrative in Dysart. Instead of making purchases on woke curriculum, like our partners or our neighbors do, partnering with unethical outside parties, bailing out school districts outside of our own school district. We work with our existing programs, our existing materials, customizing them, mapping them to the Arizona state standards in professional learning community structures. As a result of this, we are beginning to make huge strides in data-driven results. Thank you.
Thank you, President Dinsmore. I also attended this morning Ms. Principals Jill Hoppies from the Explanatory Principal Award from Shelley Boggs. So I just want to say congratulations to you and your school. Great job. And I also want to talk about the PLC incident. I know I've been there twice, like I said before. Unfortunately, I didn't get to go this year, but I'm incredibly proud of the dedication our educators show by engaging in the professional growth opportunities like the PLC conference. These conferences are more than just events. They are vital spaces where we go to collaborate, where we go for collaboration, innovation, brainstorming, and continuous learning comes to life. At the heart of every strong school district, it is a team of empowered teachers, and a professional learning communities are the key to that strength. When our teachers come together to share best practices, analyze our student data, and support one another's department, our entire district benefits, especially our students. And it's showing within our district. Our school labels are phenomenal. And then our student achievement on the AASA student assessments. They've steadily increased in both ELA and math, and we are performing above the state average. The impact of this work is long-lasting and directly supports our mission of ensuring high levels of learning for all students, not just some, like Dr. Croto always says. I'm grateful for all of our educators' commitment and will continue to support the efforts that build such a strong foundation for teaching and learning. So thank you all for everything.
Ms. Destrich, do you have any governing board updates?
You and Board Member Drake said it beautifully. I cannot even add to that, and I appreciate it because our teachers are the most important asset to ensure our students will have an incredible life and be successful in life. So I do appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, I'll move ahead to item H1, request for future agenda items. Hearing none, I move to item I1. Did you have something? Okay. Moving to item I1, I move to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Third.
Motion carries. We are adjourned.